Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
No, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Good afternoon. Oh, hello, test. Test. I think you can hear me. Good afternoon. You're watching my show. I'm the American Anchor Baby. Much appreciated that you're all here. Making sure everything's working. Looks like everything's working. Again, much appreciated. We're about to get started here. We got a nice show ahead of you for you today, Monday. We're going to be dealing with some things here. What's up, everybody? What's up, Matt? Living the dream in the chat. Talk some men's health in the food we need as men. What better month than Men's History Month? Right on, Matt. It's a pleasure having you in the chat, and OG in the chat. Burgers. How are burgers unhealthy? Everyone's telling me they're unhealthy. How are burgers unhealthy if it's literally the whole food pyramid? It's the whole food pyramid. It's got all the goodies. So we're going to talk a little men's health maybe, huh? Men's health, Men's History Month. We'll be dealing with that. We'll be dealing with angry people, and they're getting their payout. They're getting their dollars. People are getting paid for their anger, being justified, being an example for the rest of the country, but the wrong kind. It's more of the same, but you'll be interested. People don't want to forgive. It's amazing what people are doing. You may have heard about it a little bit. North Carolina manager. We'll get into that. Something I want to say about that and identity. I think it's the perfect moment to demonstrate and really explain what the Bond Network and Jesse has, but I say this on my show as well, what I've been saying about identity. And so people are mad, and we'll be dealing with all that. But ice cream's so good. I think that's what I want to deal with first. Let me flip my show upside down here, move my notes around. It's a loosey-goosey one today, y'all, but it's going to be a good one. If you guys want to call in, 888-775-3773 if you want to get in on the air, on the line here. But let me flip my show upside down. I got Matt in the chat, and something Matt sent me that I kind of wanted to showcase maybe on Friday. But we didn't do a show Friday, so my apologies, everybody who had bought their tickets for a Friday flight. You will be recompensed. You will be recompensed. I promise you that, okay? Anchor Baby Airlines you will be receiving your refunds and compensation for such a cancellation on Friday. But we'll keep going here. That's 888-775-3773. So, I've mentioned this a little bit before, healthy eating. Ice cream is actually really good. Now, I'm not talking about those AI, those NPCs on TikTok saying ice cream's so good. No, I mean ice cream is in fact not only good, but it might also be good for you. Some of you might be incredulous. How can he be spreading such misinformation, health misinformation during Men's History Month? How can you be doing that, man? Well, before I talk about anything here, I want to give a little, shall we say, should we call it a congratulations? Should we call it, a showcase. The point is, we have a friend of the show. Let me just see if I can pull it up here. We have a friend of the show who's been calling in. He's been around. I met him and his family. Very nice man. Very nice family as well. I'm talking about Matt. Matt living the dream. Who's living the dream out there with the fam. He's with his family out somewhere. I don't want to get put out too much of your personal details here, my friend. But you sent me a little message on my show the other day. And I'm just trying to pull it up here. But basically, Matt living the dream was in my chat the other day talking about some changes he made in his diet and his life. And he's seen a lot of success. And I want to say that's great, Matt. Wishing you and your family well. He says in this, let me see if I can pull it up. Matt living the dream. If you want, what does he say here? If you want chemicals out of your body, filter your water, eat grass-fed bacon, beef, bacon, and eggs. Steer clear of all grains and sugars. No seed oils. Your mind will clear your body, and your body will heal. I'm sorry, I'm not reading this. Your mind will clear, your body will heal. Nice. And so Matt's sending us a little chat here. He removed grains. We purged. He says here, we purged all grains, seed oils, and sugars, even maple from our diet 7 months ago. You would not recognize me. And that's amazing to hear, Matt, because I met you, man, and you were definitely on the bigger side, my friend. You definitely were a presence in the room when you walked in. You know what I'm saying? And that's both your personality and, Matt's he's walking in with his whole family and just, it was attention grabbing. And so he's made some changes in his life and he's saying in this chat here, you would not recognize me. And I don't know if I could show these pictures here. Because I don't want to dox you, Matt. But he's saying in this chat that he went from over 400 to 238. Right on. In fact, I believe I have Matt on the line right now. Let me get right to you, Matt. Matt, living the dream on the air, sir. It's a pleasure. How you been?
How you doing, Nick?
I'm just 5 minutes. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I had to take a sabbatical there for a while.
Yeah.
Go have a life, live a little.
I love it. And clearly it looks like you did a little, huh?
I did a little.
Or maybe more like let go of some things.
Lot. Well, I had a few things taken away from me. That is true.
Beautiful. Matt, before I just want to make sure you're not a speaker or anything. If you just be a little closer.
I am not.
Help us out here so we can all hear you nice and loud. You know what? I think it's me, to be honest, Matt. Let me turn myself up.
I even got a new phone.
I think it might be just my headphones here. I just turned you up. Man, so I was just telling everybody I met you at the men's conference that we did in Florida.
2 years ago.
Yes. How many years ago now?
2.
Wow.
Just right now. Yep, 2 years ago, August.
Time really flew. And I remember we were out late. We were enjoying ourselves. We were out late, and it was you and your family.
Yep. I brought my wife and a couple of the children with me.
Yep. And we were out. I'm remembering when we were out on that patio at this at the conference location, and we were out, and it must have been, I can't remember. It must have been 1 or 2 a.m.
2, 3 in the morning. The Big Bump was out there, and I think Hake was out there for a little bit.
Yep.
It was the whole gang.
And we got down with some Denny's. I remember that.
We did.
Yeah.
We did sit down with some Denny's.
We got down with some late night, out of nowhere Denny's, and you guys came in clutch with that. It was perfect.
Yeah, I got a bunch of pictures with Jesse and all you guys. I think I sent Hake the pictures, and he was going to forward them.
And you don't mind me showing them?
Oh, no, show the fat one, man.
Okay.
With the hand boobs all out in the belly.
Wow, okay, so if you don't mind, I'd love to.
Plaster it, man.
Right on. We got Matt living the dream. Let's go. As I'm putting them up, so are you to tell me The days of Denny's are no more, or?
Oh no, the days of Denny's are no more. No more.
No more Denny's.
I mean, if we're out, me and the wife, I took us to the proper human diet.
Okay.
So the wife is on this with me too. She's lost 70 pounds on it.
Hey, right on.
And
leading by example.
Yeah. So yeah, put them fat pictures up there. I mean, how am I supposed to know how to do things if you can't be an example? So, I mean, I knew I was fat then. I wasn't shy about it.
Okay, and we got it up right here. We got Matt with Jesse. I remember this. Matt with Jesse. This was in Florida. This is the before, and we got the beautiful after pictures here. You're out on an event. It looks like it.
Oh, we were up at the farmer's market. I was peddling my syrups.
Oh, nice. Peddling the syrups.
I must be on. Yeah, peddling my syrups. Yeah.
If you don't know, chat, Matt makes delicious maple syrup. And America, you might think, oh, Canadian. No. There's plenty maple syrups and maple industry in America.
Now, did you get the one with the arms and flex?
Now, let me see. I believe I may have that, actually.
With the American shirt on?
I believe I do have that. And so tell us a little bit about the change and the benefits you've seen.
Well, here's the deal. I'm going to tell you this. We started this 7 months ago. I was sick, fat, and tired. All right. Couldn't do much. I mean, I've always been pretty active, but everything hurt. So I don't want to drop any names without your permission. So I ran across this board-certified physician, and he has written several books, and it's called The Proper Human Diet. And pretty much everyone's heard of keto and carnivore, right?
Yes. And are you talking about Dr. Ken Berry?
Yes, sir. Dr. Ken
the
Berry
Proper Human Diet. Okay, I'm following you.
The Proper Human Diet.
So we've all heard about keto and carnivore diet. I've heard about it, that's for sure.
Yeah. So neither myself or my wife have done any exercising. I have not lifted a single weight. I have not done anything. The only thing that I made in my physical activity was I got 3/4 of an acre planted garden, and I did not use the Troy build. I just used a stirrup hoe. And that's the only exercise or the only type of...
Would you call it a stirrup?
A stirrup hoe.
Gotcha.
Yes. It's like a stirrup on a saddle.
Oh, it's literally a hoe with a stirrup.
Yes, but it's made out of metal and both sides of the blade are sharp.
I'm following.
And you work it like that. So.
Oh, you don't put your foot in this though.
No. It's foot up pretty good.
It's not that kind of stirrup.
So, right. So pretty much what you do is, that food pyramid garbage.
You said
throw that out because
Gotcha.
that's paid for by Kellogg's.
Wait, you're telling me the food pyramid is garbage?
Yeah, I'm telling you, you put those pictures up there. If you got that one where I'm flexing, that's just because I don't eat seed oils, absolutely no sugar, and absolutely no grains. Plants are trying to kill you.
So absolutely no sugars, no grains at all. Just fat and meat.
We started out on ribeyes and porterhouses. When we started out, I was probably eating a 2-pound steak, and we went from 3 meals a day to 2, and then we went to 1 meal a day. You don't count calories.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Calories are garbage. I'm not a machine. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
That's for an engine. So when you do that, I'm telling you, coming off of carbohydrates, you'd think you were a crack fiend.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't, and the pictures are the proof. And I'm just starting weight training now. So, it's just pretty much...
I want to find this picture of you flexing, but I don't think I have it. If you, by chance, have it, send it to my email. If you, by chance, have it, if it's easy for you to send to me. But listen, so very interesting. you're saying that a lot of your changes come simply from diet alone. Changing diet alone. You're still doing the same physical work you were doing before?
Yes. It's all diet.
Yeah.
Look, I've never been ripped. Now, I've been 215 and solid, but I was poofy. I'm 49 years old. I've lost 200 pounds in 7 months.
Looking good, Matt. And that's awesome to hear. It's interesting. I've noticed this a lot in the fitness world, and this is why this interests me a lot. Men are really into the fitness industry, and it's kind of become, like I said, an industry, and there's a lot of lies and stuff. There's a lot of people on juice, on gear, steroids, and selling lifestyles and lying to people. And everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody kind of has some idea that they're not quite living up to that standard that they may have set for themselves, which might be its own mistake. And this is why this interests me. You mentioned you're talking about how diet alone has made a lot of this change, and I see people that will be following this or that advice, and they're like working themselves to the bone, running and this and that, thinking that the top athletes are getting skinny like this. Well, they're not. They're doing what you do. They're just changing their diet. They may be working out just as much, but people think in their mind that the more I run, the more fat will be shed off, which is a little too simplistic. It may be somewhat true, but
right. You have to eat fat to lose fat. Your body does not. It was a spiritual journey, to be honest with you, and Jesse really helped me with his advice. Did a counseling with him, and what's going on now with me is realizing that the spirit and the flesh isn't mine. I'm just occupying the flesh at the moment while the spirit's here. And when the flesh is done, the spirit's going to move on. So the way I kind of look at it is, I was searching and researching, religion and faith and all that fun stuff. Ran across Jesse years ago, found what I was looking for, found what I needed. And here we are. So it's just another step. So then I took that and I looked at the food. I looked at the body. I looked at myself, and I was on death's doorstep, let's be honest. So, all the metabolic problems, fatty liver, joints, arthritis. I mean, I still have all those things, but that's why there was absolutely no exercise.
And those are all symptoms.
Yes.
Could it be fair to call them that?
The standard American diet.
Yeah. And what would you call it? Can you describe the standard American diet a little?
Oh, let's see. 9 to 11 servings of grains. They say a Pop-Tart is healthier for you than a ribeye steak. They tell you canola oil is healthier for you than beef tallow. And it's just, and if you go into the research and you go look who paid for those studies, it's Post, it's Kellogg's, it's ConAgra.
Ooh, the big boys.
All there. Yeah. But,
so,
it's like
real versus fakes. Real versus, real nutrition versus like a false nutrition.
Well, I mean, the devil has inverted the world, so why would anyone believe anything man has to tell you?
I gotcha.
Let alone a government telling you what you need to eat when you got big ag pushing. Grains are starvation food. Potatoes, if you're going to eat a baked potato, you might as well just drink a Coke.
I love Coke.
Your arteries, the grains and the sugars and the seed oils, that's why you have hardened arteries.
Yeah.
Calcium buildup. So, my doctor freaked out.
Very interesting. You said your doctor freaked out? What do you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, he wanted me to do, the American Diabetes Association diet.
And what's that?
That's what the American Diabetes is, the ADA, the medical gurus that tell you if you eat this way, you'll be healthy. No, if you eat the American Diabetic Association diet or the Heart Association's diet, the Heart Association, you're going to have a heart attack. And on the diabetes diet, you're going to have type 2 diabetes.
That's incredible. Very interesting, Matt. I find this interesting for numerous reasons. I think we can agree on a lot of things here. And we can agree on. There's something you mentioned about plants actually harming you. And I wanted to get into that a little bit here if you have the time.
Sure.
I think we can agree. I wanted to ask you first, though, what are your thoughts on ice cream?
Ice cream, I'm going to tell you, ice cream is my kryptonite. And I just got a new recipe that contains absolutely no sugar in it.
Okay.
Now, so I took Dr. Berry's and the carnivore keto, the lion diet that Jordan Peterson's on, and I kind of got it all mixed up. So you know how to cook. You're a chef. So am I.
I'm a cook. Let's say cook.
You're a cook. Okay, a cook. Yeah. Okay. So, like tonight for dinner, we're having fried chicken.
Beautiful.
But it's in beef tallow. It's in beef tallow. Arrowroot powder and crushed pork rinds instead of wheat flour. And then I'm going to make shrimp scampi, but shrimp scampi contains like a sweet white wine in it.
Okay.
Just use everything else, take the wine out. You don't need it.
Dang. Matt's eating good. There's no...
Well...
One thing you can't say, like, despite this or that macronutrient you may be cutting out, one thing you can't say about Matt is that he's not eating good. Right on,
Oh,
Matt.
no, I'm eating like a king.
And
eating like kings.
When it comes to this same thing, so you've cut out grains and sugars. What about, like, amounts, portions, and that kind of relationship with food?
So I'm full. Have you ever tried to eat a fatty steak? I mean, you can sit and eat a whole bag of Doritos, right? You can eat 3 and not be full. You try to overeat bacon or beef, anything animal fat, and it's going to be repulsive to you. So, no, like I said, when we started, I was eating 2-pound ribeyes and then some. Shellfish with it once a day, though, we got there. And that, well, here's another key component to it. You're wanting to do intermittent fasting.
Gotcha. So that's essential? Having large amounts of the day where you're not eating?
Well, you already do it, probably. Say you eat dinner at 5 o'clock and you go to sleep and then you don't eat again until noon. You've got at least 12 hours in there.
Right.
You know, so you start out slow because I'm telling you, you're addicted to carbs, and it's going to be in your dreams. It's going to hit you like a crack addiction. But what you do for that is you use some butter, some grass-fed butter. Just eat it.
When you get a craving, just have some butter.
Go to butter. Go to a fat bomb. You can take grass-fed butter, mixed straight 100%.
So you truly you're not eating less. You just cut out grains and sugar. Or is there like a maturing in that relationship as well?
No, it was overnight. Let's see, since 2 years, we had one grandchild 2 years ago. Now we have 4, 2 boys, 2 girls. And 7 months ago, Cora was born, and that was the last time we ate out. We ate McDonald's, and that was the last time I had bread.
Really?
Or steak, cheese. Yes.
What about berries and honey?
That's what I was getting to. Honey is sugar. No, I don't. I still make the syrup, but I don't eat it.
Gotcha.
Because it's sugar. I went through the house, went through anything that had any seed oil, canola oil, peanut oil, anything from seed.
Right, that's its whole own thing. The whole seed oils. I want to ask you about that. Do you have any berries or honey or anything?
Yes, no milk. If we do anything, it's heavy whipping cream.
Gotcha.
And the coffee, which the wife kind of stalled on that for a little bit, and as soon as she got off that, she started losing again.
Interesting.
Now, I'm saying you lose weight overnight, weekly. And I've kept it documented to where we're at with pictures and all this stuff, because it's hard to believe that I didn't go to a gym, but I didn't.
No, I believe that. Anyway. It really is. No, I believe that. But what was I going to ask you? Are there any ice creams with seed oils?
Yeah, well, most of your ice cream is the stuff you buy in the store is horrible for you. But like I was starting to say, I found a recipe. You take, on the berries, I'll eat raspberries, blueberries, strawberries.
So,
and don't have an impact on your insulin.
Gotcha. And ice cream, like what? It's cream, eggs, like
yes.
And then maybe sometimes you're saying sugar-free yours, but maybe some berries, maybe just some sugar. It's really just some pretty simple, no seed oils, no preservatives. That's what ice cream should be, right?
Right. It should be. Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a cup of frozen blueberries and 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. I'm going to blend it all up, and then I'm going to take straight cocoa powder, and I'm going to have chocolate blueberry ice cream. And the blueberries you're going to think it's, well, I haven't had sugar in so long. Anything that has sweetness to it, it really explodes in your mouth after not having it for so long. But it's also from a blueberry, which they have enough fiber in it to counter that.
I'm following you. So the sweetness from the ice cream in this recipe comes from the berries and the cocoa
and the heavy whipping cream itself. But normally you'd put, because you'd take 3 egg yolks, 2 cups of sugar, then you would you'd cook them together on the stove. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
And then you would take that and mix it with your heavy whipping. But it's mainly sugar, and sugar is what's shredding your arteries.
Nice. Interesting stuff, man. I do appreciate it. I wanted to just kind of talk.
Ask anything.
Yeah, no, I don't really have anything to ask you. I just appreciate your call. I'm glad you're doing well. And it's a moment to reflect on ourselves here, what we're into, and food and all that. You know, health is a big deal. I've talked about this before. Now, we may disagree on sugar, but I am with you. But people think that I've talked about this before about sugar and being against sugar or whatever. And people think that I'm saying it's fine to eat everything that we just finished talking about. But I'm with you, man. You're making a lot of sense. You're describing a lifestyle that's not so excessive. You're still enjoying yourself, but you've what's it called? Identified something causing you an issue, and you've cut it out.
Well, God,
and so right on.
You know, it's that self-reflection, the meditation, the silent prayer, whatever people want to call it. It's the observation of oneself. And I was showed myself. I asked to be showed myself. So, I mean, it hasn't been really hard to accomplish. I mean, it was, you know, I come through my house when I got home, all right, we're doing this, wife. And I imagine we had $500-600 worth of groceries. I sat on the counter and called all the kids, because we have 6 kids. And, hey, come get this stuff. So.
Do you ever have a cheat meal? Oh, sorry. I want you to finish.
Oh, no. So, I mean, we purged everything out of the house. I went, at that farmer's market where I peddle my syrups and my vegetables.
Yeah.
There's a lady that sells grass-fed beef. So I bought a side of beef, which 381 pounds. It come out to $4.29 a pound. So, I mean, if you're capable or able to do that, that's a good route to go.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just eat anything from an animal.
So, in your estimation, which one's healthier, Big Mac or a salad?
Healthier? Well, the beef on the Big Mac by itself would be fine with the lettuce. Now, the salad, like on the keto, you eat 7 cups of that stuff, of the lettuce with the iceberg, and then you could, like ranch dressing has no carbs in it. I mean, if you're going to go dirty keto, you just stay under 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. And if you get the carbs, they want you to get it from your cruciferous vegetables, your cabbage, your broccoli, your cauliflower, stuff like that. But I would take the Big Mac and eat the beef off of it, nothing else.
So really no bread. Right on.
No, seriously, sir, no bread. And that was.
And so bread is it the grain itself, or is it?
It's the grain itself.
We're not meant to be eating grains?
No.
Really?
Look at my pics.
No, I see. No, the progress is real. The documented, both anecdotal or whatever you want to call it, and documented proof of keto and having, having success with weight loss is documented and all that. Yeah, I'm not denying that at all, man. And I'm glad that you found something that works. I'm no expert. I think you were describing, you can eat Doritos and never get sick of it. I think I'm the opposite. I can get carb sick. I can get sick of eating too many carbs and it becomes repulsive, like you said. But with like fat and bacon and stuff, I think I could do that endlessly and gorge endlessly. I've seen the same results. It really might be a person, like a personal thing. I think some people respond well with like a bunch of carbs, and some people respond well with a bunch of fat and meat.
Well, I mean, okay. I've done this before, and I did the whole, the lean proteins, no fats back in my 20s, and I was so tired all the time. I had to run 3 times a week. I had to be in the gym 3 times a week. I was always hungry. This time, absolutely none of that. Not been hungry at all. The carb cravings have, the first month was bad, but I look at a piece of bread like, ugh. And, I love some nachos, okay? I love some tacos. I mean, just all that. I had pork rinds. Just plain pork rinds, that's my nacho.
Hey, that's a big-time keto snack.
Mm-hmm.
Pork rinds.
But you know how these folks like vegetarians or they want their vegetables to look like meat, or they want they got these fake sweeteners out there like stevia and erythritol and all this. And I told the wife I didn't want to do none of that. If we were going to want something sweet, we'll just eat the real stuff. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you're going to have sweet,
there's people. Yeah. So when we eat hamburger, we just don't put a bun on it, and we eat real cheese.
But what about so you guys eat the cheese too? Nice.
Yes.
What about athletes that, like every top athlete you could think of, their diet consists of mostly carbohydrates?
Yes,
now, I'm not saying we're top athletes, you and I, my friend. I know that, but
well, I'll run circles around most of you.
Oh, right
now.
On.
So
Nice.
But anyway,
just a topic that interests me. Kind of side note, in my opinion, a side note to the success you've seen with what you've changed. Is this? I don't know. There's like a macro. People will choose a macronutrient and then kind of demonize it.
Yeah, they did. They picked that, and I think what do
you think about that? Yeah,
none of that. I didn't pay attention to none of the macros. I wanted it easy. I'm not gonna. The only thing that we documented was our weight loss, and in a tablet we wrote down our weight. Since we started it, and it's literally you lose weight overnight.
When I say focusing on a macro, I mean like, for example, like sugar. That's a macronutrient, and
oh, okay.
And that's what I mean by the demonization of a macro.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not looking to demonize anything other than if it doesn't settle with my body.
Right.
And if you want to eat sugar, eat sugar. I'm not going to. This is working for me, and I've seen there's hundreds of thousands of people out there doing the same thing, and it's working for them. But you're not going to make no money off of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Big ag can't make money selling you Pop-Tarts if you're not eating grains, seed oils, and sugars.
Mm-hmm.
So, the way I seen it was the medical and then the agriculture, the food. They work hand in hand to keep you sick, to keep you forking out that money, to keep the insurance rolls up. Just look around. Most men have a big gut or a belly on them that protrudes just a little bit. That's from sugar, seed oils, and grains.
Interesting. Jesse's been asking me, and this is not an expert. I'm not saying this is as advice. This is just a funny thing that's been happening. Jesse's been asking me, Nick, how are you getting so slim? I don't even see myself as slim. And I don't have a good answer for him because I've been doing I've been eating seed oils and sugar. Well, not so much seed oils. I actually do try to avoid that. But anyways, very interesting, Matt. What's one thing we can agree on? Not that we've been disagreeing that much anyways, but this is just a funny segue. I think we can agree that all these leafy greens are devoid of any nutrients. Let's leave that for the cud eaters, like the cows.
Well,
let's leave that for those animals, and then we'll eat them.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been doing. But I have to say, I do love my sauerkraut. and I've got
Hey,
sauerkraut making right now.
nothing
And
wrong
so
with a little kraut.
I still do. Right. I grew broccoli and Brussels sprouts and those types, the cruciferous. And then So, I mean, I don't eat them often, but I do eat them. So, and it's really, it's eat till you're full. Just make sure it's animal.
Right on, man. I agree. Real food. I definitely agree. Real food. You can't go wrong eating that animal. The animal was meant for, the animal eats all the greens and all that, the stuff you can't digest, so that you can eat it and enjoy the nutrition as well. I cannot disagree, Matt. Man, wishing you and your family well. Anything else you want to say before we move the wheels here?
I want to touch on the athlete thing that you had said.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I think this. I got a buddy, a neighbor, and he is 43, disabled combat vet, but he is benching 430 pounds. This guy's a monster. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's the same size as me, 6'4". He weighs more than me now, 245. But this man's a beast, and I'm just starting weight training with him. Mm-hmm. Now, he has a totally different diet than mine. He has one like what you're talking, where they carb up.
Yes.
Now, and he's doing 5 sets of 5. His 5 sets of 5 are 380 pounds. Okay, so
no, that's serious.
He's pushing some. Yeah, he's dead serious on it. He's only been doing this for a year and a half now.
What?
Yeah. Well, it's that he's Nordic Viking, Viking German, and it's just the DNA.
And he's natty, all natty.
No
HRT. No.
As far as I know, he ain't doing roids or anything.
Gotcha.
I mean, he's doing protein shakes and he's doing,
right
what
on.
athletes do. I'm coming in. I'm already kind of cut, and I haven't lifted. So I'm going to eat a lot of beef, and then it's going to be once a week, high intensity, 5 to 10 minutes of lifting as heavy as I can until my arms don't work, until that muscle group don't work. And that's all you need once a week. So we're going to see how much muscle mass I can put on, and the only thing I'm going to up, I'll go from a 7 or 16-ounce ribeye or steak to 2 or 3 pounds in the beef.
Right on, man. Would love to see the results of this.
I will definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, man.
And as soon as in a month or two, we'll see what.
Let's go, Gains. The Gains train is here, y'all. Right on, man.
It is.
Call me again.
See how slow I can get.
Yes, sir.
Nick. You guys have a great day.
Matt, take care.
You too.
Moving the wheels. Sorry, guys. Took a little while there. Didn't realize how much time was passing by here, but it's a loosey one, y'all. I got some things to talk about here. Going to get into some news here in a moment. A conversation here with Matt reminded me of, I believe it was Dorian Yates. It's an old Mr. Olympia, magazine. Mr. Olympia, recurring sporting event. It's bodybuilding, okay? Professional men's bodybuilding. There was Dorian Yates, famous, was it Men's Health? It was a cover of a magazine that was famous at the time. Dorian Yates, a professional bodybuilder, a British man, was on the cover side by side with another man. I forget the man's name, but the cover was, the point was that they're both, these two men on this cover were both, jacked out of their tree, just muscled up, they're both bodybuilders. But the big thing was that Dorian Yates got there with a plant-based diet, and the one next to him got there with a carnivore, like a carnivore diet. Now, you might say, well, Nick, both of those people on a bodybuilding magazine like that are most likely roided out of their tree, So we may not have fair results here. And that might be true. But, I've talked about this before as well. The demonization of a macronutrient like sugar, in my opinion, feels a lot like the vegans and the vegetarianism stuff. How about a little balance? How about a little bit of reflection on your own life? How are you eating? Do you really need to be eating that or this thing? And I think you'll arrive to similar results with Matt here. Again, right on, Matt, you and your family. I think it's been shown. I know many people who have a lot of success in mainly in fat loss. It seems, but they find success with this keto stuff and all that. I like the Roman centurion mentality of just a balance, not too far on anything, any extreme. Fasting was left. What did Hippocrates say? Hippocrates was a Roman physician. He'd say fasting, and you could say cutting out a whole macronutrient is a type of fasting. That fasting is left for the sick and the crazy. And many of us are sick and crazy, and we need a fast, right? To like a fast from all this sugar and seed oils we're eating. We need a fast to kind of get us out of this rut, this cycle of manja, eat, feel good, but feel bad, and let me do that again, right? Hand to mouth, chips, sugar, soda, with no real work, with no real physical work to justify all this energy you're putting into you. Okay? Hippocrates would say, fasting is for the sick and the mentally deranged. And so I think a little bit of reflection here is great. What did I want to say about this? Yeah. Would love to see it, Matt, your gains train after a couple months working out with your friend there. What else? I lost my train of thought. Let's move on. Because I have Canadian David, who's a monthly supporter on Rumble. You can follow, subscribe over there on Rumble. If you'd like to be a monthly supporter, you can be a monthly supporter on Rumble. That's awesome. Canadian David, thank you for your subscription. You can support me there. You can do a Rumble rant. You could become a monthly supporter, or you can drop a subscribe. You could just follow and comment and like the video. That helps a lot too. Do the same on YouTube. I know some of you have already super chatted. I want to shout you out here. Read your super chat. But let's say you can't or don't want to super chat. You can subscribe. You can follow. You can comment, and you can like the video. Let's try and game the algorithm, y'all. Let's finesse the algorithm, and let's get the message out by liking and subscribing. That's a simple thing you can do to support me here. D. Reton with the super chat says, why are vegetables bad, and how do you make sure you don't eat fake meat, i.e. filled with steroids or GMO'd? I can't really answer for you there, D. Reton. You just have to be aware, proactive, where's the source of what you're getting. They're talking about meat glue. Have you heard of meat glue? It's this glue. It's a way of, it's meat glue. It's called transglutaminase. It's made by the same people who brought us MSG. Who's the company? It's some Japanese company. Transglutaminase, it's known as meat glue. They're taking scraps of meat and gluing them together, and it looks like a full steak, but it was actually put together from scraps. You just got to know where you're getting your stuff from. I think a good rule of thumb is you get what you pay for. And what that means is not necessarily the more you pay, the better. It's just look at the look when you're in your aisle, you kind of see a price range, okay? There's usually a price range for stuff, for a certain item. Let's say anchovy paste. You'll see a range. You'll see the most expensive to the cheapest pastes. You get kind of what you pay for. Kind of a good rule of thumb. You also asking, why are vegetables bad? I don't know if vegetables are bad. How do you make sure you don't eat fake meat? Okay, so hopefully that helps. D. Reton, first time super chatter there. So thank you for the support. Being enlightened till I rise. What's up there on Rumble? Canadian David, appreciate you being a monthly supporter. Canadian David says, he will go bald without sugars, but he will be strong and lean. Right on, Canadian David. Thank you. Yeah, I'm always left on this whole topic about the food pyramid and all that. I think we can here's where I'm at with it. Here's where I'm at. I saw that they lied about sugar. I saw that they lied about fat, right? The food pyramid and all. That's something I heard. I've read a little bit here and there. I can't confirm. This is stuff I read and heard. But that they lied, that the government lied about fat, that it wasn't this horrible thing that we should be avoiding, because from that came all the fat-free food, which was actually just food with a bunch of sugar. And it turns out that that was hurting us. And so, no, it's not that fat's bad. It's sugar that's bad. And so there's that whole thing going on. And where I'm at is like, it seems like we don't need to be eating all this processed stuff and all this fat-free, all the stuff that came out of the fat-free era. So it's all sugar and fake. And now we're going now there's the plant, now we're in the plant-based era or whatever. So it's more fake stuff. I think we can agree, let's cut out fake stuff. If you're going to have sugar, have some real stuff and nothing in excess. Nothing in excess. You see athletes, their main energy source is carbohydrates. It's simple carbs. It's simple energy in and out. There's a reason, in my opinion, why the best of the best, the Olympians, they all eat carbs. Why? Because it's energy. It's not about demonizing a macronutrient. But in my opinion, a look at just a look at yourself. Don't be too crazy, okay? And yeah, I think a fast from a macronutrient, you'll find you'll find some success in that. In whatever you're trying to do here, like let's say it's fat loss. A fast from a whole macronutrient, I think you'll find some success. Now, where was I? Appreciate your super chats. Monthly subscriber, that's crazy. Let's move on here. What else do we got here? I feel like I'm missing something here. It's already been that long, 12:47 p.m. Y'all, what the heck are we talking about here? Welcome to the Anchor Baby Show. Let's move on. Hurricane, they're calling it Hillary. They're calling it Hillary. Hurricane Hillary. You know, it seemed like a nothing hurricane. Okay, they called it a hurricane. It was like some rain. Okay, I was poo-pooing the hurricane yesterday. And when the rain did hit a little harder, even then it wasn't that bad. Was it really a hurricane? There was some weather yesterday. There was some weather. And it was pretty flooded in some areas. I was a little surprised. But was it really that bad? Apparently it hit more inland. Palm Springs, you heard of some of these places. Tropical Storm Hillary aftermath in Cathedral City. Palm Springs has been totally cut off and people are unable to call 911. So I'm here laughing it up, yucking it up. Ooh, it's a little rain. People in Cathedral City can't even call 911? Jeez. Didn't know it was that bad in some areas. Apparently Palm Springs was totally cut off. You couldn't drive in or out because of the water. They're saying Dodger Stadium. Here, let me show you. Let me see if I can even just show you this one. Dodger Stadium. You know Dodger Stadium. Recent controversies. Some are saying the Dodger Stadium got their just desserts. You know Dodger Stadium and the Dodgers organization, can we call them that? Did that whole thing with the transgenders, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, as they call them. What a sick name. I'd rather call them literally anything else. Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, like sick name. They featured them, and there was a lot of controversy. What's with the Dodgers? Les Dodgers are promoting this trans ideology. Well, look at them now. People are saying they got what they deserve. God came down on the Dodger Stadium and flooded them, as you're seeing on the screen right now. They got Sodom and Gomorrah. God came down and said, find me one good person in that stadium and I won't flood it. Looks like that. Maybe there was not a single good person. People always tell me too. I hear this every now and then, like, if something happens in LA, someone I know invariably says, I guess God, we really are getting the fire and brimstone. It's Sodom and Gomorrah time. God is coming down. And I'm always reminded that someone maybe knows better than I in the chat. Tell me if I'm getting this biblical story wrong. If I remember, didn't God ask someone to find them one good person? One good person in this city, maybe Sodom and Gomorrah, and they were unable to find even one. And so God, destroyed the city. So when I hear people say that and they're living in LA, it's like, hello, maybe we're one of those not single one of good persons that you could find in the city, huh? So, Palm Springs cut off a moat surrounding LA's Dodger Stadium. You're saying just desserts. I mean, should God flood all the evil parents who brought the children to the Dodger Stadium and maybe he's putting them into schools and bringing them to the drag queen story hours, huh? I was at the Target too yesterday. And people were a little nuts. They're a little wacky. Lining up and grabbing a bunch of stuff. The water sections were empty. Maybe not that nutty. You can understand wanting to be stocked up on water. Considering Palm Springs and everything here, it may not have been that crazy, but people were a little on edge and nutty. There was this one woman in the elevator yelling and complaining about some Karen that she had met. And she's in a mask yelling to this employee and myself, and just this energy, just this angry energy. She's all like, I was talking to this Karen. Hey, look, I'm sorry for these slurs. I know I'm using the K word very flippantly here, the K word Karen. But that may have been Karen on Karen violence, the way she was wearing her mask, all mad about something stupid. That might have been Karen on Karen violence. It just seemed people were nutty. That's one thing. But they were for sure just cutthroat. No forgiveness anywhere is what I'm saying here, okay? Straight to blows now. Spiritual blows in the spiritual plane in your mind. You're like, this person cut me off, or that person this or that. Straight to blows. No forgiveness anywhere. And we know this. I saw that in the Target yesterday. But we're seeing that in public stories, in the news. One in particular that's getting attention in North Carolina. I think they played it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. But I'm talking about this North Carolina property manager who was caught pouring soda bottle on an 11-year-old boy's face before apparently hitting him. This family is suing the apartment complex, okay? And they're looking for this big payout. And I can only assume they're looking for a big payout because who do they have besides them? It's this name you know very well, Benjamin Crump, civil rights attorney. It's really disgusting. I want her life destroyed is the quote that's in all the headlines, the quote from this story. It was said by the mother of this black family whose children were allegedly mistreated, okay? At this apartment complex pool in North Carolina. The apartment complex manager in Greensboro, North Carolina, under fire and is being accused of assaulting these two children, okay? They're preparing to launch a federal lawsuit for violating what they're saying is the civil rights of these two. The complaint comes after the Greensboro Police Department arrested the woman and charged her with 2 counts of simple assault on a child under 12. 11-year-old Jace Lee Uri and his sister Jayla were visiting friends for fun in the apartment complex's pool when they encountered the property manager, Kimberly Jennings. According to the witnesses, Jennings struck the girl after an altercation. My apologies. I'm just trying to pull up the video here and all that. She slapped me and then my brother came and splashed water on her. The boy reportedly defended his sister by splashing water on the woman, who retaliated by pouring Coca-Cola on him. And so, yeah, that's what they're saying. That she threw Coke on him and slapped him, trying to get him out of the pool. Let us watch a little news story here on this. Let's get a fuller view here. just trying to get the story situated here. So Kimberly Jennings, the manager here, being accused, was charged with simple assault. Now the family is coming out. They've shacked up with civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, and they want justice. They want justice in this whole situation, okay? Some of you are somewhat aware of this story already. I think this story is going to be a good chance to demonstrate what I've been talking about, identity here. But first, let's watch some of this footage here. Let's get a little closer look at this story in North Carolina. What's going on here?
A Greensboro apartment complex vandalized. We blurred out the graffiti on a shed because of the profanity. This comes just 2 days after the apartment's manager was charged for allegedly slapping a child. That video went viral. Tonight we're hearing from that woman who police charged with assault. WFMY News 2's Daniel Cruz shares her side of the story.
Yeah, this is the video that has received tens of thousands of views online. It allegedly shows the apartment manager throwing a soda on a child before hitting him in the head. Kim Jennings manages the Sedgefield Gardens apartments just off of Merritt Drive in Greensboro, where police say the incident allegedly happened on Thursday of last week. Despite posted signs stating no trespassing and only residents are allowed to use the pool, Jennings said the child had been there before and was told to leave. She apologized and said that she regrets her actions.
The other day when he was out there, we asked him to leave and he was mouthy, and I had a soda in my hand and I just tossed it on him, and then I just bopped him. I did. I admit I did, but it was wrong. But like I said, when you've done it and you've done it and you've done it and you've asked him not to come back, and he's tearing up everything and he cusses you out and you don't know if he's going to hit you again or what he's going to do, I just reacted. But I will say that I'm sorry that I did that. I should have handled it differently.
Wow. We talked to the alleged 11-year-old victim, Jace Leary, who admitted he and his sister have visited the pool before. The family gathered for a small protest at the apartment complex. The boy's father said there should never have been a reason to hit his child.
Wow. I'm not allowed them to go to the pool because it's literally right in the next complex through the field. Less than a 2-minute walk.
She said not to come back this time. The other time she never said not to come back, so that's why we kept going. Because it's summer, it's hot, and it's a pool.
Greensboro police charged Jennings with 2 counts of simple assault on a child, and she has a court date set for next month. As for the vandalism that was found on the apartment's shed, Jennings said that was discovered today, and she plans to file a police report in the coming days.
Wow. So what do you guys think? What's your take? My first thing here is, let me pull the camera back. No forgiveness. You saw Kimberly in the video there. And what does she say in that video? Because, look, you could say, well, she shouldn't have hit them. And that she deserves those simple assault charges for the hitting. Okay, fair. Now you could say she was wrong for saying that. She caused emotional distress, as the family here is saying. They're saying the family is suing for discrimination, assault, and emotional distress. Now, you could say, well, she was wrong for what she said and that she caused this distress and that she was discriminatory. Okay. But what else did she say in the video, y'all? She said sorry. She said she was wrong. She said she shouldn't have done that. Okay, so that's kind of what I noticed here. No forgiveness. She said sorry. And what are we seeing here? We're seeing vandalism, and they want to go after this whole thing, calling it a civil rights issue. And she's saying she's wrong, this Kimberly person. She says she's wrong for what she did, and she said sorry. But they're still going after her for the racism stuff. It's crazy. And I'm not excusing anything here. I'm not excusing striking children or whatever, assault and all that. But it didn't just come out of nowhere. Mouthiness, she says, mouthiness is not an excuse. Well, we can all agree on that. But mouthiness, she says, from these young boys, you got to wonder how bad these kids were for her to get that. She's got to control herself. There's no excuse for the out of control anger and just lashing out and striking someone. But you got to wonder what failure were the parents of these kids, the father we just saw, what part did they play in their own failure? Where their kids are acting up a certain way. We can't confirm. We don't know. Maybe they weren't acting up more than any other kid. We don't know. Maybe they weren't acting up any more than any other kid. And maybe this woman just didn't like black children. It seems to me like in this story, that's kind of the argument. Was it racist or was it not? See, she looked at him a certain way. It was racist. See, she treated this person worse than another person for no reason. It wasn't racist. It was racist. It seems like the conversation centers around that. And should you find the answer to that, was it racist or not, then you will have your answer on how to properly diagnose this situation. We got to find out if she had racism in her heart. And people will think that I'm saying it's fine to treat people a certain way, or worse. They'll try to argue that this was in fact a racist incident. So any level-headedness here can be thrown out the window because this person is being racist. You can throw away your level-headedness and being fair, any fairness here. I'm saying it's a mistake to even go down that path at all. At all. Because let's say for a second here, let's say this lady did in fact hate all black people. That she just hated all black people. Like irrationally. I almost don't want to say irrationally because sometimes you shouldn't hate all people. There's something irrational about that, but it's not always comes out of just purely no reason. Some people notice patterns and they would rather protect themselves. You know what I mean? Some people may notice a pattern with black people and they would rather protect themselves and would risk being prejudiced or whatever. And I don't see any problem with that personally. But hating all people, hating all people, that is unreasonable, right? You're supposed to love all people. But let's just say for a moment that this woman hated all black people for whatever reason. And let's just say for a moment that this woman went up to that boy and said something like, "Now you listen to me, you no good cotton picking jigaboo." That's not me saying it. This is the hypothetical woman saying this if she had gone up to them for my point here, right? That's not me saying this. This is the hypothetical Kimberly in my mind. Let's just say for a second that she went up to this boy and said, "You get out of this pool or I'll whip you. You listen to me, you barefoot little Negro. You get your black skin out of that pristine white water meant for white people." Let's just say she said all that. Let's just say she said all that. I say it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. These people, this family, would still be wrong for hooking up with devils for, in my opinion, what amounts to a payout. Because that's what these people are doing. They hooked up with civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and they're suing for discrimination, assault, and emotional distress. You know what you're admitting here, right? If you're the family of these boys, you're admitting to them, you're telling them that the world has the power and ability to emotionally distress you, and that they're wrong for doing that to you. You're telling, this is the example you're setting to these boys. You're telling them the world can emotionally distress you, and not only can the world affect you in that way, they're responsible for the way you feel and act should they do that to you, should they emotionally distress you. That's what you're telling them. So now I ask you, what's worse? What's more destructive to a society? Some woman's so-called racist outburst, or black people hooking up with devils to erode the justice system, justify anger, and then promote it to the children and other blacks, telling them that they can get theirs too, you can get your payout too. Why? Because the world is responsible for the way you feel. The world is responsible. The world is responsible for the way you feel, and they're responsible for the way you act out of that feeling that they inflicted on you. So, you know what I'm saying? Where was I? It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if that woman was the most, you call it racist, most evil, hating person, judgmental person in the world. That doesn't mean you suddenly take that on as well. Because the implication here too, and sometimes overt with these people like Ben Crump, sometimes they'll just say it out loud. I wouldn't be surprised if he said it about this situation. I'm trying to read the rest of this, see if there's any quotes from Benjamin Crump. Because what I'm getting at is what you're implying here. Now I'm talking to this black family who hooked up with these devils. What you're basically also, another subtext here is, another example in subtext, you're setting an example for the children, for your kids, for blacks, and in general, is that you're living in this racist America, that these kids can't even go to the pool on the complex over there yonder without getting yelled at by some white woman, right? Because in this case, it wasn't just simple assault. It wasn't just yelling at these kids. It wasn't just this particular situation. No, it was their civil rights that was being abused. It was their civil rights. It was discrimination. So it wasn't just a simple assault, a simple altercation between these two groups, these two parties. No, it was civil rights. And so, again, to this black family, what's more destructive, this woman's so-called racist outburst or what you're implying here with your case here? What Benjamin Crump is invariably going to do with this story and call out America's racism as he's done with every case in the past. What's more destructive? Does justification of this anger, promoting it to everybody else, and then what you're teaching the boy in this very story, that he's not that others are responsible for his emotional distress. No forgiveness. Okay, that's another thing too. You're teaching them that they don't need to forgive. That you got to get yours. Your civil rights have been abused. No. Oh, sorry. You're supposed to forgive? That's the Christian way to do? That's the Christian way to act? No. Let's throw that out the window. Yeah, I know Kimberly is apologizing, kids. Yeah, kids, I know that the lady's apologizing that she, in an emotional outburst, acted in a way she didn't want to. And yeah, I know that we all have that. We all have we all are influenced by emotions and we act in ways we don't want to. But no. You are not going to forgive that lady. Your civil rights were abused. You're going to go even harder. It's very irresponsible. It's worse than anything. It's worse than anything that woman could have said. Am I wrong here? 888-775-3773. It's worse than anything that woman could have said. Because the black mother in this case, is teaching that boy that you hate that woman. You hate her and don't forgive her, despite her acting out in a way that we all can relate to. Doing things that we don't want to do out of what? An influence of emotions. She lost control. She got a little mad. No excuse. No excuse for that. But where's the excuse for this black family to justify anger in such a way? I think it's pure evil. The story should be black family. Black family's unaffected by racist tirade by a white woman, and instead teaches their children to forgive, and that words shouldn't matter. And that the world should not be able to emotionally distress you. And if it does, sorry, son, we failed you. This is how you get over that. That's what the story should be. But nah, what gets the dollars is the anger. And Benjamin Crump knows this. This is what's so evil about it, too. These ambulance chasers know this very well. There's no forgiveness. People want to make people pay. And it's not about justice, but it's purely about just being evil and nasty. I'm reminded of a story I came across just this morning. Judge to decide if Alex Jones pays Sandy Hook families a realistic amount or until the day he dies. I got this story from the New Haven Register. But it is what we're talking about here. It is related to what we're talking about here. I see your calls coming in. I'm about to get to you guys. Judge to decide if Alex Jones pays Sandy Hook families a realistic amount or until the day he dies. It's up to a federal judge to decide whether the bankrupted Alex Jones should get a fresh start from the $1.5 billion he owes Sandy Hook families he defamed by paying them a realistic amount, or whether he should be punished for his actions until the day he dies. You've heard of this a little bit. Yeah, it's still in the news. This is still an ongoing thing. And if you don't know, well, Jones's lawyer, his attorneys, they're asking federal judge Christopher Lopez to dismiss a request made by the Sandy Hook families who were awarded damages. Okay, if you don't know, these Sandy Hook families in this big lawsuit, they won they were awarded defamation damages, and it would require Jones to pay $1.5 billion. Well, these families, they got together and they asked the court to deny Jones a trial on a judgment with damages so large that he could not repay them. Okay, are you following? Basically, Jones's attorneys went to the judge and went to the courts and said, hey, let's have a trial because Jones is not going to be able to pay this $1.5 billion even in 100 lifetimes. Well, what did the Sandy Hook families do? They got together. To deny him this trial. Okay. And what is their reasoning? Hold on. I want to get you the statement here. Until the day he dies. All right, right here. The families asked this court to deny Jones a trial on a judgment with damages so large that he could not repay them in 100 lifetimes. It is the family's opinion that Jones should be punished for his actions until the day he dies. I mean, it's pretty incredible. It kind of betrays the motivation. Is it really, what, is it about, wait a second, is it about the Sandy Hook families? Is it about the Sandy Hook victims that are already dead? Is it about the families? This is suddenly not so much about the families anymore, but a wanting to punish Jones for his actions until the day he dies. Are you seeing the picture I'm painting here? You seeing the picture I'm painting here? No forgiveness. They already got Jones on the defamation stuff. It's a ridiculous amount that he'll never be able to pay. He's saying, his attorneys are saying, let's be realistic here. Can we be a little realistic here? And what do the families get together to say? It is the family's opinion that Jones should be punished for his actions until the day he dies. No, I don't care. No, I don't care if the punishment fits the crime. No, I don't care if it's realistic. I need it to be until the day he dies. Does this feel like it's gone a little bit outside of the rule of law and the punishment the punishment fits the crime, and has it turned a little bit into like divine retribution? You know what I mean? Like, how long until we start seeing headlines that will read closer to judge to decide where criminal souls go? You know what I mean? It's like, it seems like justice is going outside of the law and into matters of the heart and reading minds and deciding if people go to hell or not. How far are we from that, right? I got a couple calls here. Let me get right to them. I want to show you this clip Chad Jackson. You might know him. He featured in Uncle Tom 2, a movie that Jesse is also in, and he had a little take on something called identity. And I wanted to talk about that because people ask me a lot, actually. They ask me a lot what I call myself. Do you call yourself American or Canadian or Colombian or Cuban or anchor baby or this or that? They ask me that a lot. And these stories, the one with Benjamin Crump, Alex Jones, and these last few stories, I want to tie it all up with this clip on identity because I think it demonstrates what I've been talking about as it pertains to that very topic. But first, let me get to some calls. I got Eric out of Arizona. Appreciate your call. I believe first-time caller.
Yes. Hello, Nick.
Eric, thanks for your call. You're on the air.
Hey, I just wanted to comment. I agree with what you were saying about the whole revenge, the culture of revenge, and I've been noticing that these black men are following these black women because they're always the one in front of the cameras. We're talking about the
yes
swimming pool incident.
I noticed the same thing. It's the late. I'm reminded of Tyree Nichols, and the mother was crying, and I believe it was. It was a man beside her. I forget if it was what relation that man had, but he's just silent, just sitting there, letting the woman put on the whole show.
Yeah, he will go all the way to the end when that rapper is with Ilana, that psychologist on TV. That one rapper.
Oh,
that died.
Ayana Fix My Life.
Yes, and that one rapper's in front of him.
Yes,
in front of her. Yeah, that says it all right there.
Yes, I remember. And he's like crying about his upbringing.
Yeah, I didn't.
You talking about DMX?
Father or... Yes.
Yeah. I think we did this on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I might have done it on my show, but yeah, DMX and his son reunite on Ayanla Fix My Life's show, which is an Oprah Winfrey Network show. Okay, so you can understand. It's this black woman who's like a inspirational speaker and stuff, and she helps people fix their lives. Okay, so go on.
Yeah, so it's just the black men following the women, and I know that those children are innocent. They have no choice but to follow Big Mama.
Totally,
because they'll just get wrecked if they don't, and there's no men to protect them. But it's just a victim mentality over and over and over. It's fascinating.
Right, and it's actually it is feminine too.
Yeah.
So these boys, they grow up getting all mad about this or that slight. They're acting like they're acting like their mothers.
Totally, 100%. And there's nowhere else to go because their mama's going to thrash them, and you can see it in their faces.
And then imagine being this 11-year-old, okay? And it's not just this woman yelled at me, but it's you got cameras, you got the news media, you got attorneys. I mean, in an 11-year-old's mind, that's how many of us, because let's be real, how many of us aren't really individuals? We don't really think for ourselves. We just go with the crowd, and if the crowd is saying this is true, then it's basically true for this 11-year-old. It's basically true for him. He was being discriminated. This was racist. This was, right? You saw those people out with picket signs and all that. That's making it real in this 11-year-old's mind.
There's no way out for him because now he's going to go in front of the psychologist. That's going to be another mama spirit because they said they're already in therapy.
Right. Good point.
So it's just game, set, match right there. Until a man comes along.
Yeah.
He can.
And it's like a setup. It's a big old setup. They have no chance. They have no chance when you see it like that. A lot of these black children and stuff, they have no way out, no chance.
No way out. It builds frustration because they're never going to find contentment. And then they need to prey upon somebody else.
Right.
Does that make sense now?
Absolutely it does.
They're going to now find a victim. They're going to find another person to make angry or, to push to the edge.
Right.
And they'll never be satisfied. They're just like wolves, just never satisfied.
Instead of going back to the first where it all started, the one that caused the confusion and the anger, it's the mother.
Yeah.
That's why this whole thing with Jesse on the mothers and all that, this attention on the blacks has showed me a lot about my life, my individual life, my personal life, my own family, and we're not black. But that's why I don't know if I should be, I don't know if thanks is the right word, but the insanity and stuff we see in the blacks leading the way to destruction, it has shown me a lot. It's taught me a lot about myself and about identity. You know what I mean?
Yes. I don't know if it's so much leading the way as they are being led, like it's the Pied Piper.
Mm-hmm. That might be a fair description.
Yeah, because I don't think they realize what how they're being used.
That might be a fair description.
I really don't think they know, because just like some people don't know about the foods killing them, they really don't know. It comes in a package, it's clean, it's inspected. How could it be killing me? How can the doctor be killing me? He went to school for 10 years. He's in a white coat. Look at him. He's shaved. He's clean. He's up. It goes on and on.
How could my family and friends and the people outside with the picket signs and the nice people with the cameras, how could they be lying to me that this was a racism that was inflicted on me?
Yeah. Hey, how can my mother hate me?
Right.
Wait up. This doesn't sound right. But hold on. If I add it all together, she did hate me. But it wasn't. She didn't even know. She didn't. She did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Interesting. Yeah, so true. I want you mentioned the food thing. It sounds like you wanted to say something about the food here before I move the wheels, because I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, please. By all means, go ahead.
A war on. They tell you fat is bad and salt is bad, but there's only two things that you can't live without: is fat and salt.
Yep.
So I find that fascinating. And then, just real quick, it's not going to take me long. When they said that they were going to build back better, that means that you can only build something back if you destroy it.
Oh, yeah, build back better. It was, go on.
That's part of the Go Green policy, right? We cannot go green if we don't destroy the past, and we cannot build back better if we don't destroy the past. So you see these fires, right, and you're kind of like, wow, this is kind of like 2 and 2. They told you they were going to build back better, and once again, right, they told you they'd have to destroy it. It's in their heading.
Yeah, this is Joe Biden, Build Back Better plan, put out that bill. So this is definitely Biden. We could call it Biden. Now, I see what you're saying, build back better, so they first have to destroy it. Now, I can't confirm what you're saying here. About purposely destroying stuff. But here's one thing we could both agree on. They definitely, however it happened, whether it's a fire or a COVID or whatever, you can be sure that these people, the government, Democrats, whatever, they see it as an opportunity. However it happened, you could have your ideas on however it happened. They at least see the opportunity to build back better, build it in their own vision.
Yes.
We saw that with COVID. So, however you may think it started, they definitely know how they want to end it, is my point.
You know what I noticed also is that when we see these things, these relationships, there's a trend. And when we see these trends, it's just all about remembering, let the wheat grow with the tare. Like, we don't even have to get excited about it. We can see it plain as day. We can call it for what it is, but we don't even have to react over it.
Totally.
Because we have to let it grow together. We have to. The evil it's going to grow with us. Christ said, because we got to forgive it. It doesn't know. It has no idea. We can correct it. We can talk about it. But we can't take ourselves to that level where it would really, really bother us. It's all part of the message. But let the wheat grow with the tare. And let's see who wins.
Interesting stuff. Man, Eric, appreciate you. First-time caller on my show. Call me again.
You too. Good work.
Thank
Good
you,
work
sir.
to all the guys. And Mr. Peterson, of course.
Thank you, sir. Moving the wheels, all this talk is reminding me of a little clip I wanted to show you guys. It's from Chad O. Jackson. He featured in Uncle Tom 2, was on the Jesse Lee Peterson show a couple times, and he's talking about in this clip about what they call black excellence. And it reminded me about the whole topic of identity and how sometimes this can be a little confusing. I brought it up multiple times before, and people have called my show And I will get right back to calls. I'm about to get to your calls right after this clip here. Much appreciated. But people ask me, there's been callers on my show who disagree. They say, no. For example, they'll say whites, they need to have their identity. That's their problem. They don't have an identity, racial identity. Others do. And whites are suffering for their lack of it. And I've been saying, as Jesse does, Bond Network, but I've seen this in myself, that you don't need an identity. And I think it holds you back. Honestly, I think it holds you back. Especially in the messed up world that we're living in now. More than ever, you have to overcome it because these little identities we used to have, we used to have much cleaner lines of demarcation between the identities, but they're so blurred now that we can't just go by them. And they may share, they may have a purpose and a use, right? American versus not American, a Christian or not versus not a Christian. They may have their place and their use and purpose, but I think ultimately we have to overcome them. This 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕 clip I want to play for you right here in a moment is about what they're calling black excellence. And I think demonstrates identity here very well. What I'm saying about identity, at least. I want to play you the clip. I want to tell you a little bit about identity. As it pertains to me, people ask me a lot, what are you? American, Canadian, anchor baby, Colombian, Cuban. And I might have a little insight on that because of that, right? Now, let me play you the clip here, and then I'll give you what I want to say here about identity, because I'm seeing a lot of identity issues in this whole apartment complex thing with Benjamin Crump. How is it that Benjamin Crump and a couple of attorneys can use all these countless black families to really divide America to such a degree? I think their work in eroding the justice system is so significant. You have to wonder, but just how. I think it's identity behind it all. Let's watch this 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕 clip here.
Even when y'all use the term black excellence, y'all are referring to mere aesthetics. Y'all aren't even referring to substance. Y'all are referring to surface level, how a thing looks, not what a thing is. Mm-hmm. That's what y'all are referring to. When I went on TikTok and I typed in black excellence, what did I see? Black men walking in suits. It wasn't an advertisement for a suit. Even though y'all look like y'all were dressed at the nines, these weren't advertisements for suits. What are y'all selling? Y'all are selling black excellence. Mm-hmm. I want to know where you got that suit from. I actually like that suit, but no, you're just a black man walking in a suit, black excellence. Okay. I don't know what kind of job
the bar is really low.
Right, exactly. So I look at a thing, oh, black excellence. Well, okay, well, what does he do for work? Does he have kids? Does he love his wife? Does he, you know what I mean? Like what do you, I'm looking at a man in a suit, that's black excellence. Okay. All right. So again, what y'all call black excellence is pure aesthetic. It's show. It's not substance. If you're going to talk about what is black excellence, or is there such a thing as black excellence, it's helpful to understand what is blackness. Like, right. What do you mean by black? I don't consider myself to be black. I consider myself to be a son of God who happens to have a high melanin count. It's not something I'm ashamed of. It's not something that I hate. It's just not something that's important to my existence.
Dang, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕. You want to check out the rest of that clip? It's on his Twitter, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕 on Twitter. He, like I said, he was in Uncle Tom 2 alongside Jesse. And he's just absolutely right. He's just absolutely right. I resonated with this so much, considering I am the American anchor baby, right? They call me the American anchor baby. And it's, the name itself is supposed to be kind of thought-provoking. How can it, for some people might say, why are you calling yourself an anchor baby? Why would you ever call yourself something so awful? What was I saying? Oh yeah, why would you call yourself that, anchor baby? Others will say, well, how can an anchor baby be American? How dare you call yourself American as an anchor baby? And so that whole identity thing is an interesting thing, because I don't have that kind of hang up. I don't really have that. I don't have that hang up at all. I may have gotten into my share of problems, don't get me wrong, but I never really identified with groups like that, probably due to my life, my upbringing, being an anchor baby in America, moving to Canada as a child, growing up in Canada, being around so many different people, myself being raised and born in a Colombian family, but then I may have a Cuban father. What does that mean? Colombian, and then being in Canada and growing up Canadian. The Americans don't see you as American. The Colombians don't see you as them. And I never really had that hang up. I never really had that hang up trying to fit in or identify with any of those identities. I just knew some way, shape, or form, I knew that I ultimately wasn't any of those things. And so I never tried to fit in like that. Not in those things, at least. Not in being Colombian or American or Canadian. And I got to tell you, I've been blessed in my life for that. Because I see people tripping out about it. I see people with, people who've come to bond or whatever. I've just seen people trip out about it. And I never had that issue. And I think you're better off without that. I've seen people held back, for example, from Jesse's message of forgiveness. Something that simple message. And that's not, when I say Jesse's message of forgiveness, this is God's message. This is God's message, simple message for humanity. And I've seen people deny that because they're stuck on identifying with being white or black. And I'm seeing how that's in the way of people, in the way for people to see simple truths. And so if I don't have that, I got to say I'm blessed. I have to say that I'm blessed because it's not in the way. You got to understand that these things are in your way of seeing the truth. How is it that some people can't see what Jesse's saying? Well, they'll be focused on what he said about blacks. How is it that I can see myself? How is it that I can be fine with people not seeing me as Canadian or Colombian or Cuban or whatever? Because I don't identify with those things. How is it that I can call myself an anchor baby, for example, and not really care? Again, it's not me. It's not what I identify with. It's just a factual story. It's just what happened to me. It's just a factual statement. But why is it that other people have to have the correct view of my identity for me to be okay? You see what I'm saying here? Why is it that other people need to see me as an American or see me as an anchor baby or not, or see me as a true American or true citizen for me to be okay? Because do you see the point I'm making here? Because I don't need that to be okay. My point being, for example, American anchor baby. People might say, well, I'm not a real American. Nick, you're not a real American because your family abused the 14th Amendment, and that's how you got your citizenship. And I think that's all true. But I don't need someone to tell me in my heart that I have love for this country. No. I don't need someone to tell me that. I don't need someone to show me that or tell me that. I know I have love for this country. You know what I'm saying? So, identity. Something you should overcome, in my opinion. I think this family with the North Carolina pool situation is just what they're teaching their 11-year-old here is to be into identity, and I think that's more destructive than anything in this whole story. Not that woman yelling, not the soda, not the actual, I guess, assault on the 11-year-old. I think the worst thing is, teaching that kid that identity is a good thing. Let me get to Brian, North Carolina. You're on the air, man. Appreciate your call.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate your show, man.
Thank you, sir.
I tell you, at least one coming to Jesus moment per show.
At least one, and that's all we can hope for. And I'm grateful for that one. Thank you, Lord. Let me be.
Thank you for real, man. I called because you had the Alex Jones article up.
Yes.
And I was reading the title, and you talked about how it looks like now we're just judging based off the heart.
It feels like that.
And it's really when I see stuff like that, it just makes me see how we're getting dumber as humans. Like we're just going in reverse. It kind of reminds me of like every scene you've ever seen in a movie where Jesus is depicted and they're crucifying him or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing. It's just it's like mob ruling. Like judges aren't even judges anymore. They just go with whatever way the crowd's going.
And it's irresponsible and evil. It should be a mirror to us. We become rabid dogs, or at least the family in this situation. I mean, obviously, I'm coming from an ignorant standpoint here. I'm not a lawyer here, but I thought it was about a blind lady with scales. You know what I mean? It has to do with the law and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like they're judging the heart.
As far as identity is concerned, that stuff is. I share something similar with you, where growing up, I never really identified with any group, and I always was I'm black and I'm white, but I look black.
Mm-hmm.
But then I speak well, and so I would always be pulled and pushed. Like people ask me the same thing they ask you, like why are you hanging out with them people, or why are you talking like that, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never identified with it, which I totally look at as a blessing, because something I know is that identity starts with mothers in the home.
Right.
Especially nowadays. It starts with your mother saying, we don't do this or we don't do that, or, just whatever, just throwing her identity on you, and then you go with that. And in the black homes, it really, really is bad, man. Like that's the first thing you know. And you're going to learn it quick. Is you're black, and it comes with blah, 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 blah.
So true.
It's just crazy, man.
Yeah, it's hard to, I hear about this, that it's hard to kind of go against what, as an individual, especially a black individual, that's hard to go against whatever like the prevailing black culture is. You don't really dare in your own personal life, due to that kind of stigma, that any other black person you're with will, see you as one of them.
Yeah, it's a mess. Something that popped up while I was waiting on a friend of mine sent me a video of Justin Trudeau. Did you see that? Did you see
what happened with Justin?
I don't know if it's
Lord.
He was doing sending a message out on the television, and he asked all the mothers to leave the room so he could speak with their children.
Oh, what?
And gave them a moment to leave the room.
That's creepy. Oh wait, so there's kids in the room, and he's saying, mothers leave the room. This is just us and the kids right now. This doesn't concern you or something.
They're not physically. He's doing this over the television.
This is weird. I got
Isn't
you.
that weird?
I got you. In fact, I think I pulled it up here. Internet calls Trudeau creepy after telling mothers to leave room so he could talk to the children. This was a televised address. And then during this, you imagine the family's at home watching this, and he tells the family at home watching, okay, mothers leave so I could talk to the children. Creepy stuff.
Hey, man. The government got mind control over Debo.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. What did he want to tell them?
I don't even know. My friend just sent me the clip, and that's the only part of the clip that I saw.
Children are children's minds seems to be what's it called? More and more clearly a battleground, if you can call it. What's it called? What I'm trying to say is they seem to be an asset, okay? Children's minds, and some people out here are trying to conquer them.
I agree with that. I believe that as well. I mean, it's clear as day. We can see it right now. They're going after the children, blatantly. I mean, think about that right there, right? What do you think it's going to do to a child if they're sitting in front of that TV, and when Justin Trudeau asked the mothers to do that, a mother actually did that?
Oh yeah.
What is that going to do to the child? I mean, you forfeited your child.
No, Justin Trudeau's daddy.
Point. Yeah,
obviously Justin Trudeau's dad.
Right.
Oh, okay, my bad. So this is my dad. Oh, okay, gotcha. Thanks for letting me know. That's what the kid would be thinking.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my bad. I thought this man Okay. So this is my father. I understand. Clear as day. That's what the kid's thinking. Loud and clear, Ma.
Man.
Loud and clear, Ma.
Yeah, it's just a mess, man.
Yeah, man. Man, Brian, anything else before we move the wheel, sir?
No, sir. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate your call. Call me again.
Will do. Take care.
What a mess. What a mess. Identity. You know, people get confused when I say I don't see myself as a really like, I see parts of myself that are Canadian. I see parts that are Colombian. You could call it that, sure. But American, but I don't really totally identify with any of those things. And I really like what Chad Jackson said in that video I showed. It reminds me a little bit of what Jesse says, that, you know, your true identity has to do more with God and being in his family and who's in that family with you. It's not always blood relatives. Okay. Which implies what? Implies that maybe these identities are maybe a little false, right? Let me keep the calls rolling. Latina in Cali, you're on the air. Appreciate your call. Latina.
Hi, you guys. Sorry about that.
What's up? How you doing? Thanks. Were you just on mute there?
Yeah.
No problem. You're on the air.
You know, the mother of those two under age 12 children
Yes.
should definitely go to freaking jail for child neglect, child endangerment.
Okay. You're saying imprison them.
Yeah, because they were trespassing on private property. And here in California, they have signs up all over the pool that, you know, or on their contracts, I'm sure that, like, if you're under a certain age, I mean, at least here in California, there's signs on the pool that, like, under 14, you're not allowed to come swim there without your parents. And, you know, with the way society is today, I would not allow my kids to go off to some other apartment complex where, you know, there might be child predators or drug pushers or, you know, there's just so much danger. Like, other children are dangerous sometimes, you know, because they'll fight or pick on the other kids or something, you know. And, you know, I think if she really gave an F about her kids, she wouldn't be, you know, sending them off to the pool so they could go babysit themselves. You know, the pool is not a babysitter.
Right. I mean, she seemed to be confident enough to send them off, like you're saying. They're confident enough to send them out into the world, into this big, mean world where you might get discriminated, where you might get this or that. She seemed comfortable enough to do that. But all of a sudden, now the world's too discriminating. You can't do that. You know what I mean? But I guess in their minds, they may think that they have the right to be protected from such things, which I think we both disagree with that.
Actually, I think that the pool, the apartment complex should sue the parent for trespassing also. So you're going to put them in jail for child neglect and put the kids in foster care or whatever, you know. And like I said, you know, those people think that they can just make up their own laws and own rules or, you know, what are the rules in North Carolina? Like, I'm sure that it's not okay to, like, let your kids just wander around. If I think, wasn't 11 and 8?
Right.
The ages of kids?
It seems like, I don't know the rules in North Carolina. I don't know if they had signs up. Apparently, they've been told before not to not come back, but to not be so rowdy and mouthy or whatever. It's these two, an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, who went over to another apartment complex. The father in the clip I played made it sound like it was really close, but you have to go through, like, a forest. So I don't know how close it is, but the point is it's somewhat close apparently. And so that's the story. You're saying imprison the family, the family of the children on charges of the mother on charges of child neglect and what?
And endangerment and trespassing.
Now maybe that's a little too far, Latina in Cali.
No, it's not.
Weren't we just talking about the correct punishment for that has to justify the punishment. The crime and the punishment have to fit.
Yeah, she was letting her kids who are only 11 and 8 go to the pool by themselves. The 11-year-old is not not old enough to babysit legally. I think like in California, the kid has to be like at least 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That 11-year-old shouldn't be burdened by babysitting the younger sibling.
Mm-hmm.
It really is endangerment because there's so many kidnappings and there's just so much danger out there. And then plus, the possibility of drowning.
Mm. Well, I can agree. Look, one thing I agree is there's no attention on the parents here. No attention on the parents. It seems like you got to be the most perfect person. You can't say a single thing to a kid. You can't or risk abusing their civil rights. But there's no penalty on you if you're a parent with out of control kids. And I don't think there's any attention on that. They're calling the kids mouthy. They're calling them mouthy, not justifying the woman's actions. But apparently there weren't any treats. There weren't these little angels, if you believe some of the reports. Which it's like if you look at the kids, well then how far are the parents?
Yeah, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
So I think there should be more talk and attention to all that. I don't know if I'd go imprison them right away, child. But I like your militant style, Latina. I can respect it. I can respect your tough militant style a little bit. I think I can appreciate it a little bit. It might be a little too mano dura, maybe in this particular case, but I definitely understand the spirit.
Yeah, let's make trespassing great again and put people in jail for that. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks for your call, Latina. Appreciate it. It's a mess. Let's run these calls. Let's rock these calls. We're gonna move on here in a moment. Got more stories for you. They're saying things about Lauren Southern. You know Lauren Southern? And I noticed something about this, and I want to talk about it. But first, let me get to Vlad out of Russia. We got a caller from Russia. Is that correct, Vlad? You're on the air.
Yes. Hi, Nick.
What's up, Vlad? Thanks for calling me.
Nick.
Yes, Nick the
Hi.
Anchor Baby. You can call me that.
No, I would not. I would prefer to not call you that.
Oh, why not?
Because you said before that you don't identify yourself as a Colombian or any other country. But
Vlad, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Clearly, I have at least one of my viewers, and all the way from Russia, has actually been listening to my show. You've actually been paying attention. Thank you.
Of course. And there is a thing. When you call yourself Anchor Baby, you identify yourself as an Anchor Baby. That's wrong. I suppose that it's kind of destroy yourself inside.
Okay. And what do you mean?
I mean that, this joke came too late. I don't know how to say it correctly, but it's too far. Yeah.
Really?
Too far. And
so you see that I'm joking. You see that I'm joking.
Yeah, of course.
But you say the joke is too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Is it because go on. Explain what you mean a little more.
Yeah. So I think that it would be better for you, for your future, for your identifying and all this stuff, or with with knowing thyself, as Jesus says. You can say that you are pure Nick or something like that with your name, with your actual identity. Who are you? You're not Anchor Baby. It's the same thing that if I would be son of the drug mama, I would be said like a drug baby, yeah? But I'm not. I would not like to be that way. You're not responsible for the deeds of your mother, yeah? So why this joke is that's too far.
I appreciate your call, Vlad. Thank you, man. I agree with a lot what you're saying, because personally, when I say Anchor Baby, I've made this. I like saying it because I think I like saying it because of calls like this, Vlad. Because people like to call in and clarify. Maybe they don't understand, Or sometimes they're like you've been watching my show and you agree with me that we shouldn't identify as any of these things.
Yeah.
And I agree with you as well. That's why I'm saying it. And I personally, you may disagree, that's also why I like saying anchor baby, because for my core viewers who've been paying attention, they know that I don't really identify as an anchor baby, but it's an opportunity to have conversations like this. Because anytime I say anchor baby, people calling me that, I know inside that doesn't define me. And so I like bringing up the conversation.
Okay. Just like
because don't you agree?
Anchor for a conversation. Okay.
For a conversation. Let me ask you a question, Vlad. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Well, first, let me ask you, do you know what an anchor baby is?
Yeah. I know a couple of guys here in Russia.
Yeah.
Living here, but they have a citizenship of America.
Right. And I am a citizen, but okay. So you know what an anchor baby is. The definition, you know the definition. I know I don't identify as an anchor baby, but would you say that I am technically an anchor baby?
Yes, I would say so.
And so that is why I like having this conversation, and that's why I call myself American Anchor Baby, because we have an opportunity to bring light to this. You see that I can at the same time I can be an anchor baby and yet not identify as one. Because it's factually correct. I am the son of illegal immigrants in America. And so I am it is a factual statement to call me an anchor baby. But that doesn't mean I have to identify as one. It doesn't mean that's who I am. It doesn't mean I have to get offended if someone calls me that.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
But I think you should figure out a little bit more about this stuff because...
Fair enough. I appreciate the criticism.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Nice, man. Vlad, call me again. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Okay. Have a good day. Or what is time is now in America? I don't know.
Yeah, it's afternoon. But thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
All the way from
Bye.
Russia, Vlad. How's everything in Russia right now? Before I let you go.
What?
How's everything in Russia right now? Before I let you go.
Oh, how's it in Russia? You say time or what?
How are things in Russia? How's life in Russia right now?
Things? Life. You know, it depends on the region. So I live in a peaceful one. So it's okay. Just too much limitations, like I cannot use Twitter, Instagram, and such on. Just only YouTube is available for me right now. So
right on, man. Vlad, thank you for your call. Let me ask you one last thing before I let you go.
Yeah.
What would you think if I called I understand we talked about Anchor Baby, but what if I called myself Anchor Man?
Anchor Man. Yeah, that would be better.
Hey, right on. You heard it here first, folks. Thanks for your call, Vlad. Call me again.
Yeah. Yeah, bye.
Anchor Baby becomes Anchor Man. Is it possible? Maybe we'll see that one day. All right, y'all. I got Rumble. I got Super Chats. You guys are awesome. And I still have topics. And already it's been almost 2 hours. What is going on? Time is flying. I have Austin L. Stewart, Mildew Grew, Dennis 2020, Lily Poo, Canadian David, and the Hake Report, and many more who are just not chatting, holding it down on Rumble, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. You guys are growing my Rumble channel, and it's actually happening. And you guys got the party going over there on Rumble. You guys rock. You can Rumble rant and subscribe. I have a super chat here on YouTube for those that still want to support YouTube a little bit. Hey, we love YouTube, right? We love YouTube. Malkuth X says, have a kombucha and salad on me, Nick. Right on, Malkuth X. Appreciate your super chat there. How about this? I'll keep the kombucha. I'll have a Ray Pete salad. How about that? Ray Pete carrot salad. You ever heard of Ray Pete? Hey, Matt, living the dream. If you're still in the chat, let me know if you've ever heard of Ray Pete. Ray, P-E-A-T. Thank you for your super chat, Malkuth X. Jabrail NTP with the super chat says, caller is right. And that was during my call with Eric So appreciate that, Jabril. Thank you for that. And Lin Yan Chin coming in strong with the super chat says, it's not the anger that is the real problem. It's the insecurity, instability of heart, which breeds the anger as a coping and focusing mechanism to mask and hide feeling embarrassed or ashamed. Very interesting, Lin Yan Chin. Thank you for that. Right on. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Nice. Nice. Dang, we've had ourselves a show here. We've had calls. I didn't even get to all my topics. Identity. You know who they're calling a fake trad thought? You ever heard these terms, y'all? Trad. A trad, short for traditional. They call women who are turning away from the, modern lifestyle of hooking up and all that, and they would rather be married and wear a nice dress and be at home and cook. They're calling them trads, trad wives. They're calling some of these trad people, these trad women online, they're saying they're fake, that they're just faking it. They don't really want to obey and be a wife. And so these people online will pick out certain this or that figure, and they'll say that they're fake and that they're real. One of these is Lauren Southern. You've heard of Lauren Southern. She got attention. She's a Canadian, a political activist. She made that movie about the farmers in South Africa. And she's gotten attention here and there with her political activism. And they're calling her a fake trad thought. And you know what? I realized something a little interesting about that. We'll leave that for tomorrow. Jews versus free speech. You'll be interested in that. I got something on that tomorrow. You might be surprised on the twist here, on the take. Africa's per Europe. Have you ever heard of this little metric? Yes, it's called Africa's per Europe. You may have never heard of this metric. We got some interesting topics for all of you tomorrow on American Anchor Baby at 12. Don't miss it. We'll leave those for tomorrow. Super chat from Tabor J. Eaton. He says, or she says, who killed the chef, Mike or Barry? I believe Tabor is referring to that chef who died on it was the Obama's chef, right? The Obama's chef died. And they found, fact check, no evidence of trauma found on body of Obama's chef. So you can stop asking questions, Tabor. Huh? What's with all your questions, huh? Well, Reuters is saying no evidence of trauma, so, Tabor, you can stop with all your questions, okay? You've had too much to think, sir. We'll leave those stories for tomorrow. I had some nice super chats here. Appreciate all that. What else did I want to say here? There's something I'm missing here. Something I'm missing. I think it was a call. And I think you're gone now. My apologies. I have only one screen. I used to have two screens. That's the show, y'all. Talking identity. Talking this, talking that. Right on, y'all. Yes, Esoteric, appreciate you tuning in. Bye to you as well. Let me just sign off to everybody here. We got more show, more American Anchor Baby tomorrow, Tuesday. Don't miss it. We got Joel Friday on Tuesday, The Hake Report, and of course the JLP show, tried and true, Monday through Friday. Overcome your identity. It's all surface anyways, like Chato Jackson says. It's really shallow when you really, really think about it. I know you guys think, some of you might think, well, you need this racial identity, and whites are suffering without it, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's shallow. I think we've demonstrated that a little bit here. If you disagree, call me tomorrow. More American Anchor Baby at 12. Otherwise, y'all, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. Take care.